Hey y'all, Peter Bros Golf Show back at it again. I am Rod.
And Marcus.
Life changing week for one man, kind of ho hum for us the fans. I mean the finish for the Mexico, what do they call it? The Mexico Open at Vedanta World. Good finish, very good finish. 2-hole playoff, um, but kind of lends to the criticism of a watered down PGA guy that's a journeyman, 31-year-old Brian Campbell takes the championship in the 2-hole playoff against. I'm gonna screw up. I don't know his last name. Potgieter. Potgieter. I can't say his name. Aldrich. We're gonna call him Al. The young phenom from South Africa slash Australia as well. Um, Ends up winning it in the 2-hole playoff for Mr. Campbell. Journeyman, 150 some odd starts on the Corn Ferry Tour with that a win. I lost you a little bit there. For some reason, your feed cut out. It could have been mine. But chime on in.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's what you said. I mean, as a fan of the game, it was cool to see, but like the casual fan is not gonna be too excited because it's people they don't know. Maybe Pot Gear because he's a long driver. I mean, he's leading the tour this season so far. I mean, I think he's carrying it 320, something like that. I mean, when you're putting Rory in a distant second, I mean, that's saying a lot because Rory's definitely, pound for pound, the longest driver that we have out here on the tour. But yeah, I thought Aaron Rye would have made a bigger push. I mean, he was kind of surging at the beginning. Um, funny enough, Steven Yeager still up there on the leaderboard yet again. Not bringing it home, but top five, bringing home a nice little check again. So yeah, I thought it was overall a good week for the PGA because of the amount of mid-tier to lower tier names that were up at the leaderboard, just giving us a chance to see fresh names, see how deep the tour can be as we continue to reiterate and harp on. But yeah, unfortunately for casual fans or new golfers, names like Aldrich, Potgear, and Brian Campbell aren't going to ring off the same as if even just like a Sahith Tagala or something like that would have brought it home, or a Tony Finau that always comes out to the
No.
Mexico Open or something like that. So yeah, bittersweet week, but just like what you said to start it off, still a life changing week for one player. So after for that, we do still have to celebrate that. I mean, you saw what it meant to his longtime girlfriend as well. I mean, she hit the floor. I mean, I don't know if it was the dollar signs, the Holy Spirit, or just what happened, but she fell out and they had her on camera falling out. I thought that was funny. But yeah, it was a good moment all in all for them. So glad that happened for them. Yes. You good? You good?
Yeah, am I back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was having some issues, sorry, with the Wi-Fi where you were jumping in and I couldn't hear it, but every other word you were saying. So switched up
Hmm.
my Wi-Fi feed, so we should be good to go.
Okay.
Heard most of what you kind of put out there, but I mean, like you said, life changing week. I think it's always that's the I think the thing that the PGA brings to the table that unfortunately Liv cannot produce, right? Even if one of the lower tier guys on the Liv tour ends up winning or sneaking in a win, it just doesn't hit the same. One, there's not going to be as many eyes around it, and I don't think I've seen very many dramatic finishes. Last season, Liv started off with two straight back to back playoff competitions, but really
Yeah.
you're usually looking at multiple strokes for their margin. So this is just a result that PGA Tour is unique in. And even seeing that him, Campbell sneaking one in that could have went in the trees and pretty much spelled the end of the tournament. Got the lucky bounce on the par 5 18th and that playoff hole, able to get up and down and get the birdie. So just unique. He gets to get into the Masters 2-year exemption. So a big win for him. Like you said, the longtime girlfriend. You see, I saw a jerk comment. I got to stay out of the comments on Instagram, but just someone saying, oh, these women are out here making this all about them. But I look at it more as if these are people that have been in these folks' corners for a long period of time, and the culmination of all the work that they've seen this person put in, seen the
Yeah.
struggles, the road trips, the miscuts, all the things that come from being a professional golfer come to culmination in a win. That's a lot of pent up just frustration, and to have the victory, have that big check, a pathway for at least 2 more years in his career in his early 30s, be able to take advantage of that. Hopefully it does springboard him. We always hope for that, that this
Yeah.
gives these guys an opportunity to pick up some more endorsements, financially make it work for them, not just be a flash in the pan and get that one victory.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about the young kids game, man? Meaty young man. Not exactly the model of fitness, but gets the club head moving. Has a pretty athletic move down to the ball. Um, with all woods. I mean, he's hitting the dang 3 wood 300 as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about the kid's game and his upside?
I think that's the modern game now. Being an athlete, being explosive, um, and I think he's taking advantage of that. I mean, he's bringing the weight that he has, he's bringing it behind him, he's putting it on the right places, and he's still flexible and pliable enough to make a big turn and still create a lot of speed and width in the swing. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, you know, whatever draws your attention to the game, it's good. So, him driving it, 335, every time he touches the driver, some fan or some kid is going to look at that and be like, I want to do that. So, whatever draws the new fan in, I'm okay with. But as it pertains to him, I think it's cool. I mean, you just see that again, unfortunately. I mean, if he just got a little bit more active or, change his diet up a little bit, you saw how easy it could be for him to even add more on or get a little bit
Yeah.
stronger and stuff like that. So,
And it looks like he's gone up and down because they showed a variety of pictures of him, and you could see his
mhm,
weight has fluctuated quite a bit. I would say one of the things that exposed him on Sunday was the struggles with the short game.
short
He
game.
just
Yeah.
was not able to get up and down quite a few times, hitting it well past the hole, giving himself some really stressful par and bogey putts to come in. So the fact that
Agreed.
he was able to get in the playoff, still pretty impressive because I thought he had a rough first 7 holes. I think he maybe birdied 8, coming to the turn, but yeah, he was struggling up and down in the first part of the round. You could tell the nerves were there. And that's when the hands go. So if he can
Yeah.
tidy up that part of his game, put himself in that position a few more times where the pressure's on, I think he'll be in good shape. I am going to risk it unless you got something else. I want to pull up again. We talked about this with Golf WRX putting up late what's in the bags. They've in the past seasons they've been really good with this, but this year we've seen some struggles with some of these unexpected winners. Do you have anything else to add to this week before I pull up just their website?
No, no, we can keep it pushing.
Okay. Hopefully this doesn't bog down the feed too much just because they run a lot of ads on their stuff. Lack of pictures, as I kind of went over with Marcus in our kind of pregame notes, they don't have a lot of detail. So I'm going to read this out because I'm pretty sure it's going to be tough to read on this screen. So for the driver, he has the newest, latest, and greatest Ping G440 LST, the low spin version, playing it at 10.1 degrees. So a little bit higher than we typically see from pros. Not exactly the longest hitter in the world.
Yeah,
Mitsubishi Diamana GT60 Tour X tipped at 1 inch. I think you've asked for like tipping information in the past, and it was interesting that I saw that this week. But again, a lack of pictures, a little more information. What do you think
good.
about this? I think I want to say I forget who posted this, but this is the first win on the PGA Tour this year with a current
A
year's
new
driver.
driver. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
else has
Everybody else.
been old stuff. So what do you think?
I think it's good. I mean, I think he's I think him knowing his game and knowing that he needs a higher lofted driver and not trying to buy into teeing the ball super high and trying to, hit up on a 9 degree or 8.5 degree driver when you know that's not in your game. I think knowing that is very commendable. I mean, and you got a 60 gram, tour stiff shaft, so you're at least going to be able to pick up some speed and take some spin off of that ball that way, as well as with the low spin tech. So yeah, I think him knowing his game is really refreshing because a lot of people try to force that 9 degree that you see a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that is kind of a strength of being a veteran and knowing your game. So I think that's good.
Yeah. Again, pulled out the 7 wood quite a bit this week, and we'll get to that here in a sec. 3 wood Ping G430 LST, playing last year's version. Mainly, we've been seeing in the 3 wood, not the LST, but more the standard version. So interesting there. Playing it at 13.5 degrees, kind of a little bit of a mini driver action.
Hmm.
Not exactly your traditional 15-degree 3 wood, so maybe looking for a little more um, rollout and just a lower trajectory to get a little more distance out there. And then Fujikara Ventus Blue 7 Tour X Flex.
Cool.
Again, just interesting for me that he's playing the LST. You don't see that very often in the 3 wood. On the coverage, they were talking a lot about this 7 wood. The Ping G430. This again playing the max version of this one,
Yep.
and at 19.5 degrees, he had that dialed in. And the Fujikara Ventus Blue 8X shaft. It was interesting on that 17th hole, the par 3 playing 202 on Sunday. He whipped this club out, hit it just past the flag. When a lot of people were really struggling to go at this flag, looked like he felt very confident. It's just it's feels weird when you see a pro with a par 3. Everybody else has got irons in hand, and he's got that 7 wood. What do you think about the 7 wood? I know it's um, becoming revolutionary, very much the hot club of the day. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think for players, I think the presentation down by the ball is what people like about it. Um, Me personally, looking at something with that much loft and it being that big of a head, now it's a more compact head, but it is still a fairway wood head. So to me, it's kind of wonky. It looks kind of big and bulky for what it's designed to do or what you're trying to get out of it. But if it is creating confidence in what you need to do with that shot, I mean, it's like Sahid Tagala. He's got a 9 wood in the bag, and he
Yeah.
says, he whips that out, pause, and 230. 240 shot. So if you know the yardage that you can hit, or if you know what you're trying to accomplish with that, especially with it coming in with a fairway wood, you're gonna be able to get some trajectory on it that you wouldn't be able to with the 4 iron, with the 3 iron that's gonna play that same loft. So I again, when you've been playing the game for that long professionally, you go to what works. So for him playing the
Yeah.
19-degree 7 wood, if it works for him, it works for him. And when that provides a confidence going into long par threes, that's going to be great for you every time. And I think a course like the Mexico Open is always it's in a longer hitter's advantage. That's why
Yeah.
Tony Finau won it a couple of times, uh, because it's easy for him to hit a fade, still get plenty of yardage and stuff like that. So that's why I thought Potgieter was going to do what he needed to do,
Right.
and just kind of really just outdrive everybody. It's a par 71. You got to take advantage of the 3 par 5s that they have, and it didn't seem like people were, able to get at these par fives like they thought. So, you know,
I
I
think I think 18 is such a weird one because it's always fun to finish on a par five out there, but that one has a tight driving
right,
that drive is tight on 18. Yeah, there's a decent landing area that fit Potgieter, but having to fly that tree and then land it in in that smallish space, and then there was a pot bunker, um, protecting the green right
yeah,
in front of the flag. So getting in there in two is a little more difficult. You saw a lot of people throwing it in that bunker, at the front of the green, getting up and down for the birdie. But yeah, I think that's why it was interesting. It's just an interesting setup, which that 18th again varies slightly from the rest of the design of the course, which favors it's kind of wide open to a
yeah.
certain degree, right? It's
I
got
mean, you
the
saw
kind of
Steven Yeager too. You saw him. He
right,
went far left into the other fairway to give himself
right,
an angle. That wasn't
right,
strange. That was
right.
strange, but it worked.
It's weird on the coverage them seeing him shoot from that other far left fairway. So
Mhm.
on the irons, the pink blueprint S's 4 through pitching wedge. We saw these with Daniel Berger a couple weeks, putting them in his bag, upgrading his iron. So tried and true iron, really nice looking iron with the KBS Tour 120 stiff. Again, not surprising given his profile with his other clubs that he'd go with the lighter shaft.
Yeah,
It's just not surprising. In the wedges, kind of changes it up, goes to the Titleist Vokey design SM10s in the 52, 56, and then Wedgeworks at the 50 degree, or sorry, 60. I don't have my glasses on. At the 60 with the KBS Tour 130, again, lighter than usual for a wedge. And then this 52, shoot. That's in his 52, sorry. And then True Temper Dynamic Gold S400 in his 56 and 60. So back to the heavier. So 56, 52, excuse me, wants a little more versatility, um, in that club. Any comments on the
yeah.
wedges?
I mean, to me, I feel like it's been a while since we've seen somebody 52, 56, 60 gapping. I mean, we have started to see a lot of 50, 54, 58, or 50, 56, 60. I mean, really, when your pitching wedge nowadays is 45, 46, and the pros are playing it like that, you're not really going to see a gap wedge at 52 that much anymore. But yeah, I guess I mean with those blueprints, I think the pitching wedge is either 46 or 47 or something like that. So, he probably knows how to, dial it back, hit it a little bit shorter, or, put it back in the stance and get a little bit more out of that 52. His 52 also could be playing, could be bent, could be playing more like a 51 or something like that.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, you never know.
And we just don't have that info. Just to check it out. Interesting. So they're saying that the loft on the pitching wedge in that set is a 45.
Mm,
So, yeah. it looks like they have an alternative. I don't know what this means for ping, but they have retro spec loft, and that's at 47 degrees. So I
Yeah,
don't know
that's the
if
pro
they're
loft.
okay. So there you go. So that would make some sense with him being at 47 degrees and then having a 52-degree gap wedge. If it was
Yeah,
at 45, having a 7-degree
that's a big
gap,
gap.
that would be massive.
Yeah.
And then there is an actual picture of his putter, which is that ping redwood answer two. And I think they had a picture up at the top of the back. So really, it's common kind of shaping and just classic answer putter. Nothing special here. Looks like this is actually a pretty fresh one. Doesn't have a lot of wear on it either. And then the Titleist Pro V1X. So you hooked your boy up with a box of Pro V1Xs. I didn't. I played Sunday, but it was like it had rained overnight, so I didn't really want to
Mm,
play with a lot of them. So I pulled them out on the par threes, and that Pro V1X this year's version felt amazing
it felt amazing,
off the
bro.
irons. It's
Hmm.
weird because it's like with the putter, it feels light, but I like the response off of iron. So
Hmm.
we're gonna see a lot of people playing the latest and greatest. Of course, that's always the number one. The Pro V1 lineup is the number one played ball on tour, but they got something special this year. I really enjoyed playing with it. Really tight with the iron. So
Yeah, feels good off the face, compresses nicely. Again, like I said, for a firmer ball, the feel off the face is still pretty damn soft. I mean, it's great. I mean, around the greens, then it's spinning for you, it checks up. So yeah, I definitely agree that it's a special ball, and I think they're gonna really have a lot of people transition from the V to the Pro V1X, especially this year.
yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. LPGA or DP World Tour?
DP World Tour, because I didn't even get a chance to watch the Kenya Open, unfortunately.
Okay, neither did I. I mean, a little bit of it. We got Jacques Kruyswijk. He's been up there a couple times, winning the Kenya Magical Open. Again, weird time of the night that it came on,
Super.
or morning, I should say. Kind of that 3 a.m. slot. So I didn't get a lot of that because I was staying up late for the LPGA. So that was getting a
Right.
lot of my time. So the only really big story that came out of the Magical Kenya Open was this Chrysler guy putting talcum powder on his hands when he would grab the driver, and people questioning whether that was even legal to do. And the fact that the DP World Tour posted it on their IG page was also interesting, right? Playing it up a little
Yeah.
bit, but there, in theory, it's legal. I don't think it gives any outside advantage or some undue advantage. But shout out to him for getting his win as they make their African swing there in Kenya last week, and then they're going to be in South Africa the next 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which I look forward to that. Hopefully the timing's a little bit better as they're moving over, maybe an hour or two earlier. But they're also kind of being on the same competing schedule with the LPGA as they also are on their Asian swing. So the
Yeah.
ladies are in Singapore this week. Um, so last week we had Angel Yin winning dramatically on 18. Again, we had a lot of good finishes
Yeah.
this week. She had to get a birdie on 18. The Japanese player who has a twin apparently was chasing her down
Hmm.
and put on a show. And I think I saw a quote from Angel Yin saying that her competitor had a 10 under round in the first round of the tourney, and so she saw her coming, saw that there were a ton of gettable holes. Hell, we saw Angel Yin putting flag hunting all week.
Yeah.
A lot of short birdie putts. A
Yeah.
lot. Every time I looked up, she was flag hunting. So What do you think about Angel Yin? I don't know. She always makes me nervous. Confidence, we know, has been an issue for her, and just her believing in herself. She again looked nervous again this week, but figured it out. What do you think about her?
Yeah, I think she also had a new caddy on the bag this week. Um, I think he's a vet, but new to her. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we, bro, when you're shooting 28 to win a tournament, you shooting around even par, even for one day, is gonna cost you. So
right.
like, like Gino, she, made a resurgence at the end, but she had already had a bad round on the first day. Like, that's what it is on the LPGA. I mean, you have to go out and golf your ball. It is insane because Hawaii literally shot 62 first day, 61 last day, and lost. Lost. That
Yep.
is in itself, like, if you tell somebody that I shot a 61 and a 62 in a 4 day tournament and lost,
And lost.
they're gonna look at you crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
and that was
who
even
did
the
you
case
lose
with
to?
that was even the case with Patty T as well. She had,
Right. She had one
like
bad
a
day.
and just put herself out of it in her home tourney, and it's tough. I mean, but that's we've one of those again repeating themes and things that we've continued to talk about is that the LPGA is very deep, and if you're not
Very.
going out there and getting it every week, you don't really have a chance. I mean, you have to go shoot a number, um,
Yeah.
which and we haven't even just because of the nature of the Asian swing, we haven't even seen a lot of the American-based players that had really good seasons last year, right? We haven't seen a lot of Nelly.
Facts.
Um, what's the other young lady? A little bit older. Name is Lauren Coughlin. I have not
Lauren
seen her
Coughlin.
very much. Yep. Lydia Ko doesn't even play that much on the Asian swing. So,
Yeah.
at this stage of her career, so there's quite a few namely players that we haven't even seen them outside of first couple of weeks of the season, and now you know some ladies are going to get a chance to get some wins and get some reps under their belt and come back to the U.S. in a few weeks and really try to continue their momentum. But right now, I mean, we're just kind of touching the early part of the season, and we're seeing these Korean players, the Japanese players that you know are at home and getting a chance to shine, and it's good. It's really good golf. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty damn amazing to watch. So that we're gonna have a treat the next couple of weeks, at least for us.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta commend the tour though. In Thailand, three out of the top five players all tie. You just look through the leaderboard. Moria Jatarnagarn tied fourth, 19 under. She shot in the 60s all 4 rounds and lost
Yeah.
by 9 shots. Petty shot a 71, 265s, lost by 9 shots. Gino Titacool's worst round was a 69, lost by 7. That is golfing your ball, and that is a deep
Right.
field. That is
Right.
insanity. That is
Yeah.
insanity to me.
You had to hit wedges. There were a lot of short irons that they were taking into these greens.
Yeah,
Um,
but they didn't miss fairways. It was placement stuff too. Like, again, when you're 70% from the fairway, 80% greens and reg, and can putt with a feathery touch, bruh, like, how they're not shooting in the 30s every week is just, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I I
Yeah.
I'll
It's
just
kind
continue to be amazed with the women's game. They play a
of
different game than we do.
I know. I have to take some tips, especially with the driver. I don't know. This last week I was struggling with the driver. Um, as we know, like it's hard to get two pieces of the game working together at the same damn time. But
Right.
definitely taking some pointers from the ladies these early parts of the
Hmm.
season. Get my game in shape. My little group is starting our season this week, so I got to go get it.
Yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
get
Good luck
some.
to you on that, brother.
Yeah, we're finally in spring in Texas, so I'm gonna get some range time in this week.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
couple couple of other little small things. TGL, man, the weird schedule. So apparently they had a match today that started at like 4
8.
Central Time. It was weird.
Huh?
It was on early. I got a notification and I was like, okay, they're
That was
giving me
Tiger
a
Squad,
heads up.
right?
No, they're playing Tiger Squad is on deck tomorrow, Tuesday, which is the spot that we've come to know and expect, but they had a super early match today. Um, that was the one that Tony Finau signed a 1 week deal to play in, which I don't know why they wouldn't have tried to take more advantage of that. But super
Huh?
early start, yeah. So weird. They were on today, but we know Tiger's gonna miss the first match of his this season for him. Just said his head wasn't in it. We saw the big blunder last week where he hit a wedge on a 199 shot,
You
but
told
he
me
thought he hurt.
99.
Right? Like no,
Wild.
199.
What do you mean?
So
You saw the yardage. You thought you hit the driver 400? I know kids was on his ass
I
in the
know.
like the back room. Oh my goodness, I know they was killing him.
But of course, taking it easy on him because hopefully taking it easy on him. Losing again. We talk
Right.
about it. His
Got
head's
to
just all over
proceed
the
with
place after
grace.
losing his mother. Yeah.
Oh,
So
for sure.
we still don't know when we're going to see him start the regular season. Had some ideas that we may have seen him at the Genesis. That was moved to Torrey Pines. Of course, that was very fresh off his mother passing. So
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, he's still just throwing out days. We may see him in the Florida swing. They even floated him jumping in for the Players Championship, but he's got to get something in before the Masters. Get some tournament rep under his belt. But
Yeah.
the quote was he hadn't even been able to think about golf, which is highly understandable. But as a fan, you just want to see what he's bringing to the table this year. If
Yeah.
there's even a glimmer of hope that his body looks good.
Man, that sucks. That sucks. And that's what I was getting ready to allude to is it's finally a year where you feel like Tiger finally had minimal surgeries, minimal invasive work to where he kind of had some time to actually build up some strength and endurance and like some playability and be able to actually play multiple events this season for him to be set back like this, unfortunately, with the real life problem. So hopefully, it gets better. Hopefully, mentally, he gets a little bit stronger. But you saw what happened last year. I mean, last time when his pops passed. I mean, it probably took him a good half a year, if not a full year, for him to completely heal and feel
Yeah,
okay and stuff like that. So, got to be a TGL face of the league for that because it's you and Rory's league. That's
yeah,
every week, even if it's just for
yeah,
2 hours, just stuff like that. It's tough, man. It's tough.
yeah. Just also just while we're talking about Tiger, spent a lot of time on the negotiating front, trying to get a deal together with the Live guys. A lot of discussions at the White House with Yasser and Jay Monahan and Adam Scott, trying to get a deal taken care of.
Yep.
Hopefully that gets done. I think the tough part is going to be bringing back people that are still deserving of PGA Tour cards. And there's going to
Right.
be a handful of guys that just are going to be left out
Tossed
in the
by the
cold. I feel
wayside.
like, yeah, I do feel like that. That don't no longer qualify. There's going to be some interesting folks asking for exception or exemptions due to
Yeah.
like lifetime money list type of things that haven't played well in majors here recently. So we'll see. There's going
Yeah.
to be, we're closer than ever, right? In terms of just getting it done. I think both tours are realizing that they're both in really tough positions. Like nobody's
Yeah.
watching either at some super high rate. And I don't even think that getting them back together is going to be the fix that people think it is. They squandered a lot of goodwill, and I think there's also a bit of a realization that the money doesn't necessarily make sense. And that
Right.
was coming from Rory, which we
Yeah.
had seen that more. We'd seen more from the pundit class of folks saying, the money doesn't necessarily make sense, and no one would associated with the tour would validate that feeling that
Yeah.
what they are paying players is not returned in the amount in these TV deals. It just
Yeah.
doesn't materialize that way. And so I don't know. We're gonna figure it out very quickly. Um, if it's gonna move the meter or not. If seeing Bryson DeChambeau more often, and the guys that have been missing out, because I mean, outside of Bryson, there's not a lot of guys that just tee it up every week. I mean, John
Right.
Rahm plays pretty frequently, but DJ is not coming back playing every week on the PGA Tour. Brooks is not coming back and playing every week. I mean, Joaquin Neiman plays quite a bit, but I don't know if he's a needle mover either. I don't know if PGA Tour fans give a damn about Joaquin Neiman.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would say he's just like, I don't know. I feel like he's really bringing it in for the Latin American community right now. So I can't really diminish what he's doing. I mean, he's still a
Right.
good golfer. He's still young. He's still in his 20s. I would hope that he still has, some movement with him, some influence with him. Be
You
good
hope.
for him. I mean, good for his sponsorships and stuff like that going forward as he needs to renew and then get into, bigger deals going back to the PGA instead of having just, lucrative prize pools every event where, you finish in 44th and still get 200, 300K or whatever. So it's
Right.
gonna be a tough spot. And I guess Lucas Glover had this in mind when he was thinking about all this slandering of the tour and stuff. Because what is my man Hudson Swafford gonna do, bro? He is gonna be a middle of the pack player for the rest of his life unless he just catches, lightning in a bottle. So all these little smaller events where the field size is still 150, the worldwide
Mm,
technology, open and stuff like that. That's when you get your Hudson Swaffords in there, bro. Like, I
yeah.
don't know what else to tell you, bro. But like, he not getting into Pebble Beach Pro Am no more. He not getting into any of that. So like this whole sentiment for the middle of the road player, you got to play better.
Well,
What?
yeah. I hope that now that if the merger does win, let's just say win. Let's just say win at this point,
Yeah,
and it occurs that these guys get back to the training and discipline that they exhibited before the move happened. You
right,
just, like you said, when you show up every week and you can finish in the 40s and still take home I mean, let's say you tee it up 14 events every year, and outside of your regular contract, you finish dead last, you're taking home $100,000. You're leaving the season with 1.4 million. It's a pretty decent living for sucking. I'm just
right.
saying, just for showing up, teeing, putting a tee in the ground, you're doing okay for yourself. So, that's not going to be the reality anymore. And, you get cut, you don't make any money. So, again, hopefully the discipline comes back. We're going to see from Chikara. He's our first not the first, right? We've seen several guys kind of work their way back to the DP World Tour, but I don't think we've seen any try to traverse and get back to the PGA Tour. I think Chikara is going to
Yeah,
be our first real life example. Again, we don't know the timing of the merger to see if he actually kind of plots his way through the DP World Tour and then back over to the PGA Tour. But yeah, it's all interesting, right? This is all some stuff we've never experienced before. Never really thought that we'd have to until it all came crashing down a few seasons ago. But yeah, we're just figuring out
oh
as we go.
man. I'm just okay, so I'm looking at I was trying to see what the money was like for last week in Adelaide, which is one of their bigger events, as they say, where
Hmm.
actual the Americans had a bigger viewership than the actual Australians did for their own event that week. Just saying, just throwing that out there. But
Hmm.
damn man, you look down at the bottom. Ian Poulter, DFL, and tied with his boy Hudson Swafford. Co-captain Henrik Stenson, one shot in front of him. Anthony Kim DQ'd. How you break rules in the live where they don't really play real golf is crazy in itself. But
Hold on. Is this year or because
is this not
no, that's gotta because Swafford's out.
really?
Yeah, so
This is it
I
looks new.
it's 25. So the bottom top, and I remember, and I can confirm this because I looked at it in real time. So 54th place was Matthew Wolf. Um, 53rd is Frederick Ketcherup.
Oh, my fault, my fault. I was looking
Yeah,
at
you might
last
be on
year.
last year's. Yeah, and so I
Yeah, Matt Wolf is
overestimated.
despicable.
So to get to 100K, you got to finish 47th. So from 50th place, you get, or no, sorry, one more up. 49th, you get 60K. Still pretty decent week for showing up.
Yeah,
50th, 60K. 51st, 55K. 53rd and 54th get 50K. So it's still nothing to sneeze at, right? I mean, most of these guys are gonna the bad ones kind of stay consistently bad. We see the same names um in that 40th range.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, those days are long gone. They're not
Mm.
the Saudis are clearly not no longer wanting to just pour into that money pit because they're not getting
Right.
anything back from it. I'm sure the PIF governors are like, "Hey, bro, we're not getting a return on this one."
Yeah. We
Uh,
need a little bit
last
more back.
last big story. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna binge it, but first the excuse me words gotta say words. Full Swing third season comes out tomorrow. So we're gonna see our third iteration, and this honestly seems to be the best version so far from the previews that I've seen, and they've all been the first two seasons were really good
Yeah.
for different reasons. The behind the scene coverage. So I'm excited. I was kind of like not really paying close attention to it, but I knew I was starting to see more advertisements about it. But looked it up today. It's dropping tomorrow. As they dropped a longer preview around the Scotty Scheffler arrest and Tom Kim and his thoughts about it. So, were you excited about Full Swing? Or are you kind of eh? I don't know.
I'm about it, but that's because it's not in front of me. I guess when I see it, get a chance to at least watch that first episode, we'll see if I bite and just really delve into it. But no, I'm excited because we're getting a chance to see what these golfers do on a day-to-day basis. And it's always good to see insight from pros and see what they do and how they
Yeah.
respond and their thought process on everything and stuff like that. Still at the end of the day, they still have regular human thoughts. They might have a few extra K's in the bank behind it, but they still think like us from time to time. They're still trying to figure out that last spot, that last thing that needs to do to complete the picture that they have in their mind about what they can do with their game and how to win consistently and stuff like that. So yeah, looking into that, I definitely think I'm gonna bite on that.
We'll see if some of one of the stories that popped for me last year was the Fitzpatrick brothers, and we got to see a lot of Alex, but we haven't
Yeah,
seen his game because he was on an upward trajectory at that point,
right.
and we just haven't seen him much in the last year. And I'm wondering if people start associating like that attention with a little bit of a almost like the Madden curse that
Yeah,
you're like, I don't
true.
want to be featured on Full Swing. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a new again. We're only on the third season. We'll see how things pan out. Um, along the way. But yeah, I find I like storytelling. I like good. I don't watch a lot of TV, and so if we can mix good stories with the game that I love, it makes me excited.
Yeah,
So,
I like their
uh,
honesty. I like that dynamic as well because they
yeah,
both put it out there. Alex is the younger brother, but he wants to do it his way. He wants to find his own route into the game. Matt Fitzpatrick harped on it himself as well. He was like, "Bro, I don't want him to be in my shadow. Like, I want him to be able to create his own lane. I don't want him." He felt like like you could hear him getting kind of sheepish about it. Matt, the older brother,
yeah,
because he was like, "Yeah, like I want Alex to not have to talk about me when we do interviews. Like I want him to be able to talk about what he's got going on his game and what he's doing on his tour and stuff like that." So I felt like it was very genuine. I felt like it was a dope scene for brothers to both be on the scene, but both have a perspective of separating themselves, but still keeping it familial. I mean, it's the
yeah,
same thing with me and you. I mean, I'm always cheering for you to do well, but we got to do it the way we do it, whether that be in spurts or like consistently and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely thought that was a great perspective from them.
yeah. So I'll probably watch it in a few episodes a day, until I end of the week when I finish it out.
Yeah,
I don't, I can't sit down and watch 8 hours of TV, or I don't see myself pulling an all
hell
nighter to
no,
squeeze it squeeze it all in.
hell
Unless
no.
just, I mean, we're pretty familiar with what's going on, so it's nothing that's going to be crazy surprise. But again, it's always high production value and a really good, film. So, that's all of our stories. I mean, I know it was a kind of a quiet week. Nothing crazy popped up. No new equipment drops or anything out of the sorts. Anything else you want to talk about before we hop off?
Um, I was, they showed Angelina yacht a lot, and I was trying to look at her bag. I wanted to see what was going on with it. I wanted to see what she had in her bag. So I want to do some research on that because I don't know if she has like, if you look at her bag and the name on it and stuff like that, she don't have like a brand deal. It doesn't feel like she has like one particular club in her bag. Like she has, well, whatever putter she
It
has.
it was that I saw one. I was looking it up, but it was so badly organized and it didn't have a lot of this. Just I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was by this website by called Today's Golfer. So from
Hmm.
I'll just run it down real quick, just because you brought it up, and I had looked it up, but again didn't like the way it was presented. Callaway Paradigm, Triple Diamond as a driver, and she's still playing the Maverick Sub Zero fairway wood.
Wow.
Callaway Apex 19 hybrid, still again all over the place. Um, Irons Callaway Apex TCB. She's interesting. PXG 0311 forged wedges, which are the
Hmm.
same ones that I play. They did show a couple close up pictures of her red putter, the Burke A1 77 putter, and she's playing the Titleist Pro V1 ball. So yeah, mixed
Yeah.
bag.
Okay. But what is that putter? What
Burke
is that?
by a company called Burke.
I'll look it up. I mean, I don't really know what that is, but I'll look it up. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many putter brands now, bro. Oh my god, bro.
No, it's true. Everybody and their mother, and I want to I want to laugh and say that a lot of them are probably like mass produced because again, we were joking that the copying of putter styles is a pretty common occurrence. That outside
Yes,
of some really main, key shapes, everybody else is just ripping off everybody else. So
right.
not a lot of
And it's hard to
innovation.
patent that shit. It's hard to to patent it or get it to hold to where people are like, you patent it for one specific design, and somebody can literally say we changed the weight on it, and it'd be the same putter, but because it's not the
Yeah,
same
they
weight,
changed one
I
thing.
can use it.
Yeah.
Right. Or we put the screws here or something like that, or we put our logo on it, such and such, and now all of a sudden it's a completely different putter, even though it's the same. Yeah, that it's got to be trippy.
Yeah. The just one thing before we kill it. One of my favorite. I've mentioned it before. We've talked about this page before on Instagram. The equipment junkie. They're talking
Yeah,
about four trends that are hot this year, and it's the zero torque putters, which usually are center shafted. So of course you're thinking about the what's that brand that
labs,
the
lab golf.
lab putters. Those are big in that kind of zero torque. The 10K MOI drivers, which everybody's pretty much coming out with those mini drivers, and then high lofted fairways. So the 7 and 9 woods. These are
Yeah,
the trends of current golf lore. I don't think the zero torque putters are going anywhere. Um, but the weird thing about them is though is that we're not seeing a lot of people winning with the zero torque putters. So it's a way for really bad putters to get better, but you're not seeing people who putt, pretty decently on a regular basis adopting them.
yeah.
I
A
don't know
bad
if you've
putter is
seen
still gonna
different.
be a bad putter. No, I
Right.
mean, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's all. I don't know, bro. You got to put in the practice. You got to be able to read a green, and you got to be able to match pace with that green reading. It comes down to
Yeah.
that. Whether you're hitting out of the middle of the face every time you putt, I don't know.
Right.
But
That's kind of like the last thing, right? When you think about all those other factors.
right. But I guess when it makes it easier to go straight back, straight through, which is to me an unnatural stroke. When you think about that, think about the arc of a swing and stuff like that. You're gonna turn your shoulder some. The club
Yeah.
is gonna come inside some. So when people try to make it as scientific and technical as possible, I think that's getting the feel and the hands out of the putting stroke. So what you pick up in forgiveness, you lose in feel and touch. So yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it going anywhere. I see the everyday golfer, getting
Oh
better
yeah.
and feeling a reason to use it, and then you got some pros out there using it. So it's like, well, he's using it, so why can't I? I get it.
You're
But
gonna
as
see all
far as
the
like,
we're gonna start seeing $800 putter setups with lab putters and LA golf shafts. It's gonna get kind of ridiculous.
it's gonna get ridiculous, and people are still gonna be losing this bread out on this course in these money games. So, you know, to each their own.
Yeah. So the Florida swing starts for the PGA Tour this week, so that's always a welcome sight as well.
Cognizant
Kind of
Classic.
leads into the Arnold Palmer. What was the previous name of the Cognizant Classic? That's a newish. Oh, it used to be the Honda.
Yeah, the Honda Classic.
Okay. Oh man, I hate when they change the sponsor names. It
Oh, I know.
those become so synonymous with the tournament. So yeah, we'll be back at it again. Next week as we always are. Hopefully we have a few more stories or some excitement or a good what's in the bag to go over with. A little bit week today this week. So
Yeah.
all right, y'all. Bearder Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
We'll catch y'all next week.